All right, so everyone's been talking about Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl, right? But it's not just the game itself, it's all this stuff around it.
Yeah, like a sideshow almost.
Exactly. And that booing thing. Gotta dig into that. What was up with that? So for this deep dive, we've got articles, we've got some pretty intense social media posts.
Oh yeah, people had thoughts.
For sure, and even some body language analysis thrown in. But this goes deeper than just gossip. It kind of gets into how women are treated in these spaces, like the NFL.
Yeah, like are they just there as arm candy or?
Exactly. It gets complicated. So picture this. Super Bowl LAX, Chiefs and Eagles. Everyone's already stressed, right? High stakes.
Yeah, you can cut the tension with a knife.
Then bam, Taylor Swift's face is on that giant jumbotron. And you hear this mix of cheers, but also boos.
Not what you expect for her, right?
Right, like she's used to the spotlight, but there's this lip reader who claims she said, "Oh, what? What's going on?" Sounds like she was genuinely surprised.
That's the thing, right? If she was surprised, it means...
It means she wasn't expecting the negativity.
Exactly. And we got to remember, Eagles fans, they're intense, especially at a game like this. Huge rivalry.
Makes you wonder, were some of those diehard Eagles fans seeing her as a distraction? Like, we came for football, not the pop star girlfriend.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's where the online debate gets juicy. Swift's fans are like, this is misogyny, plain and simple. Pointing out that if it was a dude musician dating an athlete, probably wouldn't be the same reaction.
Probably not.
But then others are like, nah, it's Eagles fans. That's just how they are. You know, passionate, trying to psych out the other team.
I even saw Serena Williams tweeted support for Taylor, so it's definitely on the radar of other celebs who can probably relate.
Oh, yeah. They've been there.
But there's another side to it. Some people are saying any focus on the celebs takes away from the athletes themselves. So does that make Taylor Swift the scapegoat?
Maybe. It's easier to be mad at someone famous than deal with the bigger issues, right?
Right. Makes you think, how is she really feeling through all that? You sent me this body language analysis by Judy James, and wow.
She's good, isn't she? Picks up on the subtle stuff.
Oh, yeah. So at first, James describes Swift in what she calls sweetheart mode. All smiles, excited, typical supportive girlfriend.
Classic.
But as the Chiefs start losing, you see her change. It's grim support now, holding onto that railing, face getting serious.
Anyone who's watched their team lose knows that look.
Totally. And when the booing happened, James noticed Swift's eyes rolling in disbelief, trying to keep it together, but you can tell she's shocked.
Tough spot to be in, especially with cameras on you 24/7.
No kidding. And this is interesting. There were reports Swift was actually worried about overshadowing Kelce and the team. She wanted him to be, quote, at 110% for the game.
So she's aware of the dynamics, doesn't want to be that girlfriend.
Right, but then you've got all the proposal rumors flying around.
To add to the drama.
Right. But some sources say they want to keep that kind of thing private.
Makes sense. It's their life.
It is, but it's also playing out on this huge stage. And this is the Super Bowl, not a Taylor Swift concert, but so much of the coverage was about her, almost like the game was secondary.
Yeah, some fans were not happy about that.
I bet. It shows this weird overlap we've got now. Sports, entertainment, personal lives, it's all mashed together, especially with social media.
True, but just because it's everywhere doesn't mean we got to take it at face value.
Good point. So how do we understand this whole thing? Pop star gets booed, boyfriend loses the big game, and suddenly the internet is full of relationship experts and armchair quarterbacks.
Lots of opinions, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think to get the real story, we got to look deeper. This isn't just about a famous person at a football game. It's about how we see women in these spaces that are usually dominated by men, how fandom is evolving, and how the media shapes all those narratives.
It's complicated.
It is, but that's what makes it so interesting, right?
You know, it's kind of crazy how Swift being at the games was such a big deal all season.
Yeah, right. Like, people were super invested.
Some were all for it, others not so much.
It's like a test, almost, right? How people react to her being there says a lot about what they think about women in football and stuff.
I see what you mean. Like, some people were saying she's distracting, taking the attention away from the actual game, but didn't she bring a ton of new attention to it?
Totally. More eyes on the NFL because of her.
So it's kind of a double standard, right?
I
I doubt a famous guy dating an athlete would get this much scrutiny.
Probably not. It's a good point.
And then there's the online stuff. Some fans blaming her for the Chiefs losing as if she jinxed them or something.
Oh, I saw that. So ridiculous.
Right. Like, she caused the loss, not the other team playing well. Come on. It's like thinly veiled misogyny hiding behind sports talk.
Yeah, it's like some people just can't deal with a woman, especially a successful one like Taylor Swift, being part of the football world.
But on the flip side, she brought in all these new fans, people who might not have watched before. That's got to be good for the NFL.
For sure, more fans means more money for them. And let's be real, all the media buzz around her was great publicity.
So it's win-win, except for the folks stuck in those old ways of thinking.
It's true. Progress isn't always straightforward.
Mm.
But gotta recognize the positive impact, too. Breaking down barriers, challenging the norms, starting conversations about who gets to be where.
And she's doing all that while being herself. She didn't let the booing get to her. Still enjoyed the game, still supported her boyfriend.
That takes strength,
Yeah.
Especially with everyone watching your every move.
It's inspiring, right? Especially for younger women. Even though the Super Bowl didn't go how they wanted, just being there made a statement.
100%. It's like a symbol,
Yeah.
women belong here too, even in a space that hasn't always been welcoming.
Totally. Makes you wonder, though, after all that, will she keep going to games?
Hard to say. All that scrutiny, she might be more careful now. But knowing Taylor Swift, she could turn this whole thing into a song or something.
Taylor Swift drops Super Bowl anthem. I can see the headlines now.
That would be amazing. But even if she takes a break from the public eye, she's changed things for the NFL. It's like she scored points for inclusivity and got people talking about important stuff.
Feels like a turning point. Okay, we talked about the booing, the relationship, the whole women in sports thing. But what about the game itself?
Oh, yeah, the actual Super Bowl. Almost forgot with all the Taylor Swift drama.
Easy to do. But the Eagles won, beat the Chiefs. Thrilling game.
Definitely. Jalen Hurts, their quarterback, was amazing. Super Bowl MVP, well-deserved.
And their defense, wow. Shut down Mahomes and the Chiefs' offense.
It was intense. I was on the edge of my seat.
Me too. Even though I was rooting for the Chiefs. Got to give credit to the Eagles. Second Super Bowl win for them.
Huge deal for their fans. Bragging rights for a whole year.
And hey, even in losing, the Chiefs showed they're a top team. Mahomes and Kelce, that's a powerful duo.
He'll be back, I'm sure of it. But for now, congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Champs. And speaking of champs, Taylor Swift showed some serious resilience through all this.
Absolutely. She's a role model, proving you can achieve anything you set your mind to, even when things get tough. It's not always about winning the trophy. It's about being true to yourself, doing what you love, and making a difference.
Love that. Okay, one last thing before we wrap up this part of our deep dive. We talked about all the media hype around Swift being at the Super Bowl, how it sometimes overshadowed the actual game. But there's another side to that, right?
Yeah, what you thinking?
It's easy to criticize the media for focusing on the gossip and stuff. But in this case, their coverage, even if it was a bit much, actually got people talking about important things.
Like what?
By focusing on Swift's experience, they accidentally highlighted the challenges women still face in these male-dominated areas.
True. Whether people wanted to talk about it or not, it was there.
It made people think about these issues. We need to keep talking about them, keep pushing for equality so everyone feels welcome and respected no matter their gender.
Agreed. And it seems like Swift being at the Super Bowl and all the media attention that came with it actually helped start that conversation.
It did. And even though the booing was awful, it ultimately sparked a dialogue about things like misogyny, double standards, the need for more inclusion in sports.
Important stuff.
So even though the Super Bowl is over, these conversations are just getting started.
Which is a good thing. Shows we're moving in the right direction.
Hopefully future Super Bowls will keep being a platform for these important discussions.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine the biggest stage in football used to advocate for positive change.
Now that's a Super Bowl I want to see. Okay, so we covered a lot. The booing, the relationship between Swift and Kelce, the impact on women in sports, the game itself, how the media shapes our views.
Phew, we really went deep on this one. But there's one more layer I think we should explore before we finish up.
Hit me with it. What else have we got?
Time to talk about the lasting impact of this whole situation. Could this actually change how celebrities are involved in sports in the future?
Celebrity involvement changing the future of sports. That's a bold statement. I mean, do you really think this one incident with Taylor Swift could have that much of an impact?
Well, think about it this way. We saw the downsides, right? All that scrutiny on her, some fans getting negative, and yeah, maybe it took attention away from the game itself.
True, it was a lot. But it did bring a ton of excitement too, right? Social media was buzzing, news was all over it. Even people who don't usually watch football were tuning in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what makes this so interesting. It's like a turning point. Could this be the new model? Leagues bringing in huge celebrities to get more viewers, more engagement.
That's a wild thought. Imagine Super Bowl halftime show and suddenly, boom, Beyoncé shows up. or Harry Styles.
Oh man, the internet would explode.
Right, the marketing possibilities are huge, but risky too. Like we saw with Swift, not all fans love that kind of thing. It's a balancing act, keeping the core audience happy, but also appealing to a wider crowd.
For sure. And we can't forget the athletes, right? They're the main event. Having a huge celeb there could actually distract from their performance.
Yeah, good point. It's a complicated situation. But it feels like things are definitely changing. The line between entertainment and sports is getting blurry.
Totally. This might be a whole new era where celebrities are part of the strategy, you know?
So where does that leave the fans?
It means fandom is changing too. It's not just about your team anymore. It's personalities, brands. The whole experience is connected.
And social media blows it all up even bigger. One event, like Swift at the Super Bowl, turns into this global thing. Debates, memes, people have so many opinions.
It's information overload for sure. We got to be smarter about it, you know? Think critically, be media savvy. Don't just believe everything you see online.
Amen to that. So we went from a pop star getting booed at a football game to talking about fandom, gender dynamics, and the future of sports and entertainment.
We covered a lot of ground. But that leaves us with a pretty big question.
Yeah, what's that?
What role will celebrities play in shaping the future of sports? I mean, we've seen how much influence they have.
True. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, this has been quite the deep dive.
It has. Thanks for joining us, everyone. It's been fun.
The pleasure was all mine. Till next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those deep dives going.